Hello there, and welcome to the Bitcoin Takeover podcast. I am Vlad, and today I have an interview with Bastien and Baudoin. I hope I said that correctly. Baudoin?
Mostly, yes, it's Baudoin.
Baudoin?
Baudoin,
Baudoin.
yes.
It's Baudoin, and they are the two creators of Satochip. If you have been listening to the Bitcoin Takeover podcast, then you have been listening also to the ads for Satochip. We're gonna clear this up about the pronunciation. But basically, you guys are making cards that are based on the smart card security technology, and they're pretty affordable. They allow you to store your Bitcoin, and we're here to talk about what you're building and why you're building it. So it's good to have you guys on the show.
Thank you, Vlad, for hosting the show.
Thank you for having us.
And
Okay.
I don't know if we said Satochip or Satochip. It come from Satoshi Nakamoto, and I'm saying Satochip, so it's up to you.
Yeah, and you have three different products, which is the Satochip, the other one is the Satodime, and there's one that's called Seed Vault, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry,
Seedkeeper, yes.
Seedkeeper. Don't kill me for messing this up. So why? I guess this is a classical question, because there are a lot of people who started Bitcoin businesses, and if they kept their Bitcoin instead of starting a business, they would have had a lot more money. So why did you guys decide to start a Bitcoin business, and what makes Satochip different?
Well, I think we didn't start a Bitcoin business instead of holding Bitcoin. We do both. So we started the business back in 2014, and we started exploring the smart card technology. And to be honest, this is an incredible device because the smart card is cheap, it's really secure, it's resilient, it's powerful, and it also can do cryptographic computation easily and even store things. So at that time, with Baudoin, we came into the conclusion that it could be a good idea to build a hardware wallet based on that smart card. So it can be something affordable. The smart card is also equipped with the NFC technology, meaning you can use it with your mobile, but also with your computer, and you can carry the device very easily. And last but not least, the smart card is something common that everyone can use everywhere in the world. I mean, the smart card can be both whether you are from China or any other country. So you could easily imagine a hardware wallet, completely open source that look like your bank card and allows you to have your private key at your fingertips. That's why we start the business. And as said, we are keep holding Bitcoin during that time.
Yes, first it was a hobby, and then it was a business. So it started as a way to store our own Bitcoin, and now we try to share the product with other people, so that other can use it and enjoy it.
And that's also important what Baudouin said, because we build product for ourselves first, and then if we find the proper product, we develop it for other people. So each time we create a new product, we create it first for our own needs, our own holdings.
I mean, yeah, there used to be this tradition with architects when they were building a bridge, they would have to sit under the bridge while the trucks were overloading it. You guys are doing kind of the same. You're testing the devices, you're putting your own Bitcoin in these devices.
Exactly.
Indeed.
Exactly. And so far we didn't lost any Bitcoin.
Yeah, so how would you define your product? Because some would look at it. I have this packaging here, and there's a card inside. It looks very much like a bank card, but this is a dank card because it's with a Pepe. And here I have a hardware wallet, which is the Trezor Model T. These two, in very general terms, would both get described as hardware wallets. But this one has a screen, has electronics, does some stuff in terms of generating seeds and whatever. And this one has a smart card inside. It looks just like your bank card. You can put it inside of your minimalistic wallet. You can travel with it and nobody's gonna be suspicious. I guess in the case of this one, they're gonna be a bit suspicious and ask you, okay, what's that electronic device? So how would you define this?
I think it can be defined as a hardware wallet. Okay, some people says there is no screen, there is no button, so it's not a hardware wallet. But my definition of a hardware wallet is a physical device that you can hold, equipped with a secure element that can store your private keys. And Satochip, our hardware wallet, is designed to store your private key. We can say it's more like a signing device or a way to store your private keys safely. But you know, Vlad, the security is not full black or full white. You can have the high-end security device, which is completely air-gapped with a screen and a camera. But if you can't use it on a daily basis, maybe it's a nonsense. Okay, your Bitcoin are safe, but if it's a pain in the ass to use it on a daily basis, what's the point? You may make some mistake by using it in the wrong way. So as said, nothing is full black or full white. And at Satochip, we use the smart card because it's affordable and you can carry it easily. And of course, there is no screen on the smart card. So what we've done here at Satochip is to provide a scalable security. So we create a mobile 2FA application that you can download on your mobile phone. And if you pair the hardware wallet, so the smart card, with your device, every time you need to sign a transaction, the transaction will be displayed on your mobile phone, which means you have a kind of a detached screen. And which is great with that solution is that for people who don't read the screen, because I know a lot of people just seeking the screen of their ledger and just doing next sign. For those people, maybe a screen is not needed because they don't know what they are doing. So Satochip without the 2FA app might be a good compromise. And if you want a more advanced security, you can use the 2FA application to have this detached screen on your mobile phone.
Baudoin, do you have a different answer?
No, I think Bastien is a good summary, but yes, as he said, security is not black or white. It's more it's a spectrum. There are different trade-offs, and so, for example, if you have a small screen on a ledger, user actually do not validate necessarily. They don't look correctly to the transaction, and some transaction it's difficult to approve them on a ledger. If you can show it on the large screen of a mobile phone using a 2FA applications, maybe you get a better security if you carefully review it on the screen then. Yeah.
And also everyone in the space is spitting on other project. I heard people saying, hey, Satochip, you are not a hardware wallet because you don't have a screen. And then next week, I will hear that Ledger is not open source. Ledger is bad because of the Ledger recovery function. People will say that Trezor doesn't have a secure element, that Cold Card is not open source and too geeky. So you have a lot of product with a lot of solution. Some are really expensive, some are cheap, some has pre-generated keys. I think you should be completely transparent with the user, and the user need to have all the knowledge to select the proper device. And we think at Satochip we have a good level of security because of the secure element. We are completely open source, and we provide, as said, scalable security if you want to add more fences and more guard for your Bitcoins.
It's definitely interesting to see that there's a plethora of solutions, but most of the times for someone who's just starting out, it's very hard to figure out what they need. And they don't know why they need a hardware wallet. They just know that they need one because someone told them that it's unsafe to keep your coins on exchanges or on mobile wallets. And they backtrack from there, and most likely they end up buying the device that's more heavily promoted by some podcaster. But how do you differentiate in terms of use cases? What can Satochip do that a Trezor or Ledger cannot do, and vice versa?
I think we want to have something, a solution that is very secure, but also convenient to use. And through Satochip, you have a dual interface, so you can use it on a computer using a chip card reader, or you can use it on, you could have the possibility to use it on a mobile phone using NFC. Now, depending on the products, we don't have the mobile application for Satochip yet, but it will come soon. And then in that case, it will be convenient to use it both on a wallet, on a mobile phone, or on a computer, for example. Also, the setup is very simple. Using, for example, Sparrow, you can set up the hardware wallet in like 60 seconds. I think it's the easiest way to set up a hardware wallet compared to other solutions, for example.
Yeah, and you have free products, which to me is very hard to figure out which one you should get and for which use case. You have the Satochip, you have the Satodime, which is sort of like OpenDime, but actually open source, even if it doesn't have open in the name. And you have the Seedkeeper. And how would you define the differences between them? Because I guess people end up looking at your website, they go to the buy section, to the shop page, and they realize, okay, I have to choose between these three. And they probably don't know which one to get.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe the confusion came because we have the same form factor. So for each product, we are using the same chip card, the same secure element. So just the design change and the firmware loaded onto the chip. So our bestseller is Satochip. We talk about it. It's a hardware wallet. Basically, it can hold your private keys and it can sign a Bitcoin transaction. The main purpose of Satochip is just to let you safely store your private key within the tamper-proof chip. What is great with Satochip is that the solution is open source and non-vendor locking. It's integrated with many great clients. Baudoin talked about the recent integration into Sparrow Wallet. So if you like Sparrow Wallet and want to have a discrete, durable hardware wallet, you can use Satochip. Then we have Seedkeeper. As I said previously, we made product for ourselves first. Seedkeeper is designed to safely store your seed phrase. Because when you initialize your hardware wallet, you have to deal with the seed phrase. It's important, maybe even more important than the hardware itself, because if you lose it, you can lose the access to your coin, or you cannot recover your wallet anymore. So you need to find a proper solution to safely store your seed phrase. And on the market, we see that there are only metal plates that allow people to engrave their seed phrase, but these metal plates cannot encrypt the seed phrase. I mean, it's often engraved in plain text, meaning if someone see your metal plate, they can recover the seed phrase. With Seedkeeper, the seed phrase will be stored inside the secure element, and access to the chip memory will be enforced through the use of a PIN code. So it's quite great because you can make multiple backup. You can even gift a card to your best friend. If you don't give him the PIN code, he won't be able to recover your seed phrase. So you can have a backup in another place. So that's Seedkeeper. You can see it as a password manager, but for cryptographic secret. And finally, my preferred product is Satodime. As you said, it's like an open dime, but on steroid. I mean on steroid because, first of all, it's completely open source, the firmware, but also the software to use the card. A single card can hold up to 3 volts, meaning if you want to store 3 different volts for your Bitcoin, you can. One for savings, one for spending, and another one for your child. And it's a bearer instrument, meaning the chip itself will generate the Bitcoin public and private key and hide the private key inside the chip memory. And the holder can unseal the Bitcoin vault at any time, meaning if I give you a card loading with 1 Bitcoin, you can check by yourself that the Bitcoin is in the card and that the vault is sealed. So you don't need to trust any other third party. It's really, really interesting. And last but not least, yes, important, Satodime can be used on mobile. So if you want to deal a Satodime on street, for example, if you want to buy a watch, you can just check with your mobile phone that the private key is sealed inside the secure element and that the vault is not empty. So you can exchange Bitcoin like cash.
Yeah, you did a lot of talking, and I asked you before this interview if there's any way that you can do a live demo. So is it possible to also show how these products work and what's special about them?
Yeah, sure. I don't know if you, Baudoin, or I do the demo. It's up to you. I'll do it, right? I don't know, Vlad, if I can share my screen.
You should be able to.
All right. So I will share my screen and I will show you how I can use Sparrow Wallet to initialize my hardware wallet, and then the private key will be stored inside the secure element of the card. And you will see that the process is quite simple. So
random question, why do you use Sparrow as opposed to Electrum?
I use both, but Sparrow Wallet integrates Satochip natively, so it's more convenient for the user to be able to download the exe file from the website of Sparrow Wallet instead of using a fork of ourselves. Regarding Electrum, we fork the client and we are not natively supported yet. We have made a pull request to the Electrum GitHub, and we are working with them to be integrated. So currently, if you want to use Electrum, you will need to download our fork, Satochip Electrum.
Wasabi likes big coin joins. We do big coin joins over here.
Oh, yeah.
The largest Wasabi coin join happened on White Paper Day, October 10th, 2022, with 400 inputs and 412 outputs. A total of 127.9 Bitcoin got made fungible in a single transaction. That's a mega coin join. Let's make the next coin joins even bigger. Let's make the next coin joins even mega rarer. We like big things. We like big coin joins. Sabi puts big coin joins into small blocks.
This is very good, actually. Yeah.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right. So I will just take a Satochip hardware wallet.
So for the people listening on Spotify, he has opened Sparrow on, I guess this is Windows 11.
Yes. So I have opened a Sparrow wallet. It's the version 1.8.1. I think it's the latest version of Sparrow Wallet. And I'm now unboxing a Satochip hardware wallet that might look like your bank card. And to use it, I will just plug my Satochip hardware wallet inside a chip card reader. So it's a wired connection, a USB wired connection to my computer. So I will create a new wallet and call it SupraVlad. Create my wallet. I will connect a hardware wallet. Okay, now you can see that Satochip is recognized by Sparrow Wallet. I will import the key store, and it will ask me to put a PIN code for my hardware wallet.
Okay, so your PIN code can only be 4 numbers?
No, it can be from 4 to 16 char. It can be also letter, number, and so on.
So it's like a passphrase, essentially.
It's a PIN code. It's a PIN code. Yeah.
Yes,
When
it's
you
a-
say passphrase, I'm here like yes, an extended passphrase word for any seed phrase, but here it's to unlock the access of the memory. It's a PIN code.
What happens if you lose your PIN code?
If you lose your PIN code, you cannot access your card anymore. So be sure to write down the PIN code somewhere, or be sure to memorize it. But again, if you have a backup of your seed phrase, even if you lose your PIN code, that's not a big issue, because just buy another hardware wallet on the market that support BIP32, BIP39, and you can import your seed phrase into this new hardware wallet. It could be a Satochip one or another one, and you are good to go.
I guess this is where I'm gonna play the crypto steal ads.
Yes, exactly. So now I have imported my wallet. So as you can see, he said that my Satochip is now connected, and I can just apply. I can add a password to the wallet. So this is for the wallet file on the computer. But here I will set no password because this is for the demo. As my private keys are stored inside the hardware wallet, the wallet file stored on the computer doesn't have any sensitive information except the labeling and the addresses, public addresses, and so on. And there you go. So now I have my hardware wallet, and I can make transaction, and this wallet is called SupraVlad, and the private keys are stored inside my card. So if I remove it, I won't be able to perform any sensitive operation because the keys to sign the transaction are loaded inside the chip.
Okay, so this was the Satochip or the Satochip.
Yeah, this is the hardware wallet. You can use it with Sparrow Wallet and Electrum for Bitcoin, and we do also support some other client for other chain. And I will
it only works on chain. That's another important mention.
Yes, exactly. And now I can show you yep. The Seedkeeper. So Seedkeeper also look like a chip card. It's another design.
You know, you should not say cheap. You should try to say affordable.
Affordable.
Because cheap also means low quality sometimes.
But it's definitely not a low quality. I will launch the Seedkeeper tool. So Seedkeeper tool is a small Python client written in Python. It's a really tiny client. I don't know if you can see on my screen.
Yeah, I can.
So you have just a few menu. You can generate a secret on card. So it's an important feature because, as you can see, when initializing a Satochip hardware wallet on Sparrow Wallet, for example, Sparrow will provide you the seed phrase. So some people might say that it's lack of security because if your computer is compromised, your seed phrase might be compromised too because someone may access it. If you want to initialize your hardware wallet without showing the seed phrase, you can do it through Seedkeeper. So the steps are really simple. You will first generate a master seed on the chip, meaning it will be completely air gap and the chip itself will generate the master seed and store it on the chip. And then you will be able to export and initialize your Satochip hardware wallet using this master seed through an encrypted communication between the two cards. So there, and I was saying that earlier, that's the scalable security solution. So for newcomers, they might use the out-of-the-box setup and just print this seed phrase on screen. And for those who want an extra layer of security, they can use Seedkeeper to initialize their hardware wallet through this setup. So I'm now plugging the Seedkeeper card on my chip card reader. And as you can see, it's a new card, so it will ask me to put a PIN code. Again, it's from 4 char to 16 char. The bigger the password is, the better it is. I will just put 40 for the demo. And you can optionally label the card. It might be interesting to label the card if you plan to gift or to exchange a Seedkeeper card to someone else. Because you might distinguish those cards by the label they have. So this is my Supra Seedkeeper. All right, and now I will show you the basic option that a lot of people are using is import a secret. The idea is to load an existing seed phrase onto the secure element. So you can import mnemonic phrase, master seed, but also generic password. Here I will put mnemonic phrase. You can either generate a new seed phrase or import an existing one. And here I will import my first seed phrase. It's a BIP39 12-word seed phrase, and I will allow to export it in plain text. I already have my seed phrase, and I can submit it. And as you can see now, my seed phrase is inside the secure element, meaning you have a strong backup. You can make multiple backup of the card. You can export it if you provide a good PIN code. And you can leave the card under the table for years. You will be able to recover your seed phrase later. You can list all the secrets that are generated inside the secure chip, but you can also get access to the logbook, which will show you what operation has been done onto the chip and when. It might be important if you want to see, okay, my wife get access to the card or not. And if I want to export the secret, I can select my first seed phrase and click on export. I have the plain export the master seed, and I can also export the mnemonic So now I have the mnemonic BIP39 just here, and I can use it on my wallet to initialize it later on. And that's it. It's quite simple, but it's really interesting, especially for people who keep writing down their seed phrase on a sheet of paper. Here we provide a better layer of security.
CryptoSteel offers a durable, physical backup for cryptocurrency key and recovery words. These user-friendly cold storage devices withstand harsh conditions, including fires, floods, and earthquakes. Made from the finest European stainless steel, they are built to last. Accessible to all and requiring no computer skills, the original CryptoSteel cassette and capsule have been innovating Bitcoin security since 2013. They provide a reliable and robust backup, essential for the safety and longevity of your digital investments. Ideal for protecting your digital wealth. CryptoSteel isn't just a one-trick pony. Of course, it works with your BIP39 seed phrase, but you can also use it for important passwords, Bitcoin core passphrases, Nostr private keys, and much more. Buy your CryptoSteel metal backup today from cryptosteel.com and use promo code BTCTKVR to get a 10% discount. CryptoSteel, secure your Bitcoin like an OG.
Hey, it's very nerdy and interesting. And my first question, which is relevant and maybe it's obvious based on what you said before, but is all of the software that's being used for this open source so that you can verify that it does what it says it does?
Yes, so everything we do is open source. So the firmware, the applet running on the smart card is open source. Not only it's open source, but it's relatively easy if you are a bit geek to compile it and to load it on a card yourself. So we sell, for example, do-it-yourself card, or you can even buy them from other vendors on the internet. You buy a blank card, a blank smart card. You can build your own Seedkeeper or Satochip or Satodime firmware, and you can load it on the card yourself. So you know exactly what's running on the card. And same, the tools that we provide. So Sparrow is of course open source, but the Seedkeeper tool that we just show you is also open source. So we have a GitHub repository where everything is available. And we also try to have software as simple as possible, so that it's not only open source, but it's also easy to audit, to do code review. And of course, if you review the code, you are welcome to participate and submit pull request.
I was going to ask if this application for Seedkeeper requires internet access, or you can do it on some air-gapped Linux laptop.
Indeed. Yeah. Sorry.
I was thinking that you can use this as some sort of centralizer. You know, maybe you have multiple hardware wallets. Maybe you have a lot of devices in your family, and you want to track when the funds get spent by your wife, by your kids, whatever. And you get that interface where you see when the funds have moved and on which label or on which device the funds have indeed moved. So basically you can use the Seedkeeper also for Trezor or whatever. It doesn't necessarily have to be a Satodime. Is that correct?
So yes, indeed. So it's support BIP39 seeds or even Electrum seeds. The Seedkeeper tool, so the tool that we just showed you, to the Python tool to use the Seedkeeper, does not require an internet connection, because everything is done offline. So you can do it on a air-gapped computer. And some of our users, for example, have tested it on Tails, and it works. So you can run Tails on an offline computer, generate a seed, and import the seed through Tails on the Seedkeeper, and then you have a fully air-gapped solution. So you have the assurance that your seed has never touched an online computer. And then once you have imported seed on Seedkeeper, you can make multiple backup. And it's not really a problem to have multiple backup because it's protected by a PIN code. And if you input more than 5 wrong PIN on a Seedkeeper, the card will break itself. So you cannot do a dictionary attack or an exhaustive attack, trying every possible pin on the card. It will block before. So you can, for example, make a multiple backup and give one to a friend, one to your family, and it's not really a problem. While if you make a backup on a metal plate, you still have to secure it, because if somebody finds your metal plate backup, then there's no protection against stealing your seed. So that's the idea.
The only thing Seedkeeper cannot achieve is to be fireproof, which is achieving by metal plate. But again, I think user have to needs multiple storage solution. Metal plate are great against fire. Seedkeeper is great because it has a secure element and it's protected by a PIN code. You cannot directly see the seed phrase, and you can give the Seedkeeper to someone else safely. So it's an interesting backup solution for metal plate, and I strongly encourage people not to use any piece of paper, because the sun will wipe out the ink of the paper. Maybe it can be damaged by water, so it's important to have a proper backup solution for your seed phrase.
Yeah, and the question about open source is important, because maybe that in 20 years, and I don't wish you this, but maybe that in 20 years, the company behind Satochip will no longer produce code, you know? But once you deploy something out there in the wild as open source software, it's likely that somebody else forks your repository and keeps the code running, or else just provides a backup for it. Maybe that someone starts maintaining it, and that's another conversation to be had if someone decides that the project is useful for themselves, so they keep on maintaining it. But you can also get it on some website, because I'm pretty sure that someone's going to have the software, so you can fulfill these functions even if you go away.
Indeed. And smart cards is another benefit about this. Smart cards has been in the market for more than 40 years, I guess. They are very durable, and I'm pretty sure they will still be there in 20 years, in 50 years, because it's a very simple component. It's very durable. There's no screen, there's no button, there's no mechanism, there's no battery. So the guarantee of a smart card is at least 10 years. But if it's stored correctly, it will still work probably much longer. It can still work much longer than that. Probably it will outlive Ledger or Trezor or any hardware wallet with a battery. And the code also, the Java card code from the firmware is also something that evolves very slowly. It's based on Java. So it will also probably be possible to easily compile it and to run it or to load it on a card in 20 years. So it's probably one solution that will age well.
You mentioned two interesting terms, Baudoin. You said something about smart card, and you said something about Ledger. And I know that the first Ledger device was actually very similar with Satochip right now. It was running on a smart card, and it was called BTC chip. And I was going to ask you, how is Satochip different from that?
Well, it's the idea is the same. It's the same functionality. So BT chip was the first, let's say, prototype from Ledger, and they use the smart card for this, and they still have the code for the BT chip on their GitHub, but it has not been maintained for like 8 years or 9 years, something like that. And we started more or less at the same time. Satochip started a bit after BT chip. The difference is first, BT chip is not maintained anymore, so it's probably not a good idea to use it. It's not sold anyway. I'm not even sure. I don't know. I'm not sure it even supports Segwit actually. So it's not maintained anymore. And on the functionality point of view, we also support the 2FA option. So to have a transaction shown on a mobile application. And we also support, it's a bit experimental, but now we support Taproot using Schnorr signature. So it's a recent development and it's not implemented in BT chip.
Yeah, so there are advantages to being updated with the latest soft forks that have been added to Bitcoin.
Yes.
Vlad, may I ask you a favor?
Sure.
So I can redo the presentation using Sparrow Wallet, because I show you a demo using a card that was already set up, and I think that it was already seeded, so people doesn't see the whole process of creating a new wallet using a new card. So I might test it again if it's okay for you.
Okay, I'm here.
All right.
So you are going to
we
say...
haven't seen anything before.
Well, so let's go. I will show you how to use Satochip hardware wallet using Sparrow Wallet. So it's natively integrated since last month. So I will plug my Satochip hardware wallet into the chip card reader. It's connected through USB onto my Windows computer. And I will share my screen. I have opened Sparrow. This is the latest version, and I will show you how easy it is to create a hardware wallet and store your private key inside the secure element. So I click on New Wallet into the Sparrow software. I will call it Supra Cool. You can choose the name you want. I'll click on Connect a hardware wallet and then scan the devices. It will scan and see if there is any compatible hardware wallet connected to the computer. And as you can see, there is a Satochip on my chip card reader. So now I will click on Import the key store. As this is a brand new card, it will ask me to choose a PIN code and to repeat it once again. The PIN code can be from 4 to 16 char.
By char, you mean characters, right?
Yeah, exactly. Could be number, letter. The bigger is the password, the best it is, of course. Now he asked me to re-enter my PIN code to be sure I'm not wrong, and then I initialize my hardware wallet. As you can see, there is no private key yet, so I will have to provide my own seed phrase or create a new seed phrase. For the demo, I will generate a new seed phrase. I will have to back it up because it will ask me. So the card is now initialized. And as you can see, in just 5 clicks, I have now a hardware wallet based on my Satochip card. I have my own seed phrase, my own PIN code, and my private key are stored inside the secure element. So there is no reason for people keep using any other software wallet with the keys inside the software, because you can be self-custodian in just 5 minutes.
Yeah, just for the record, you did a big no-no there when you took a screenshot of your seed phrase. Don't ever do that.
Exactly.
This was only for demo purposes, but
exactly.
even my photo application in my phone, if I type a word, it's capable of finding words and pictures.
Exactly. For here, I took a screenshot, but the best way to properly back up a seed phrase is either to use SeedKeeper or, for example, CryptoSteel metal solution that will allow you to engrave your seed phrase on a hardware solution. So that's it. My wallet is called Supra Cool, and I can use it.
Hello, Bitcoin Takeover listeners. This is Victor from IVPN. We could have produced the flashy ad with lofty claims, but we like the straightforward approach, so I'll just stick to the basics here. How are we different from other VPN providers? IVPN is run by Bitcoiners. We've been accepting Bitcoin since before the block size wars, now using BTC Pay server, and also accept Lightning payments. We also aim for radical transparency supported by open source software, regular audits, and a transparent team. And finally, there's absolutely no KYC with IVPN. We don't ask for an email or any other personal information when you sign up. If you would like to test our service, send an email to trial@ivpn.net to receive a 30-day IVPN Pro voucher.
Hello, I'm Vlad, and I have been a user of IVPN Pro for longer than 1 year. What I like the most about it is being able to use 7 devices at the same time and using the multi-hop feature to connect to 2 different servers of my choosing at the same time. Also, your account consists of a randomly generated string of letters and numbers which are not linked to your email address, bank account, or real-life identity. You top it up with a Lightning payment and you get instant confirmation at low fees. Definitely get your 30-day IVPN Pro trial by sending an email to trial@ivpn.net. Make sure you use a burner email address that you probably already have for trolling. Okay, that's super cool. It was fast, and
it's important to be easily and fastly initialized, because the technology is quite complex surrounding Bitcoin, and people might be afraid if you have too many steps to initialize something. So as Baudoin said previously, Satochip is really simple. The code is simple. The tools we are using are simple. So the goal is to provide a seamless experience to the end user.
Yeah, and I was going to ask, because these cards have an NFC chip, if I'm not mistaken. They can be read by your mobile phone. So can you also do the same process on a mobile wallet?
Not yet. For Satochip, we don't have a mobile integration currently, but we are working, and hopefully this year we will have a mobile solution. Hopefully. So now we are working on the Satodime mobile application, and then we will release a mobile application for Seedkeeper. And then end of this year, hopefully, we will have integration with mobile application. Like, for example, we would like, it's not a commitment, but we would like to integrate, for example, with Blockstream, either for green wallet, from Blockstream. So either forking the application, or even better, if they are open to integrate it and work with us, that would be great. And if developers are listening to this podcast, I'm sure they are, they can get in touch with us, because we are very interested to work with developers to integrate Satochip in as much wallet as possible, mobile or desktop wallet.
I can get you in contact with the CTO of Blockstream. Just a few months ago, he messaged me to ask about a Supra, why I keep talking about it, why it's so special, and I think he bought one, maybe. So like, oh, I'm looking for a sports car, and I kind of like this.
That's great.
So yeah, he's also the creator of Green Address, which now has been rebranded as Blockstream Green. And yeah, it would be cool to have some of these integrations because maybe some users don't want to use Tails OS with Tor and the Electrum software that comes with Tails or whatever. Maybe it's overkill, or maybe they don't think that Windows is safe enough for using. For these
you're right. You're right.
Sometimes these operating systems on mobile can be more secure because they're much better at isolating applications.
Indeed. Yes, people have the impression that mobile is less secure, but it's not necessarily the case. As with hardware wallet, it's not black or white. It's usually it's a trade-off. So there are advantages and disadvantages.
And what is also great with mobile wallet is that you can use it on a daily basis. If you are on street and want to pay a beer, do a lightning transaction or anything else, you can just drop off your phone and send a transaction. But it's really easy to use, but the cons is that it's not fully secure. So if we can bring Satochip to mobile, it will be really convenient because the user will just have to tap the card on the back of the phone to sign a transaction and then put the card inside their pocket and they are good to go. The keys remain safely stored inside the chip. So we can have the best of both worlds, the mobile application which allow you to use Bitcoin on a daily basis and the security that comes with the hardware wallet.
Yep. Makes a lot of sense. I mean, I would definitely like to use it on a mobile phone, even though I understand that convenience does not always mean security. And on a desktop computer, it's much better to do these setups. But yeah, most people, I guess there are more mobile wallets out there right now than laptops. I'm just speculating, but based on daily usage, I think there are more people who use their phones every day than their laptops every day.
And we usually think hardware wallet for security, but I think could also be a way to for convenience for user. First, imagine you have a wallet that you want to use on your computer at home, but sometimes also a computer at your work, or on a mobile phone when you are on travel, for example. With a hardware wallet, you can use, especially if it supports mobile and computer. Then you can use your hardware wallet as a convenient way to have your key always on you, to perform transaction, be it on your computer or on your mobile. I mean, it's for day-to-day transaction, not necessarily for your big stack. But that could be a convenient way to use a wallet. And also for user, it's also more intuitive to know that your keys are on the smart card, for example, instead of being on somewhere on your computer. If you use a software wallet, your keys are stored on your computer or in your mobile, but you don't really know where it is stored, how is it backup or not. And sometimes it can have an unintended consequence. For example, your keys are backed up by Google, and you don't even know, because if you use it on a mobile wallet, sometimes it's automatically backupped. And if you have your keys on a smart card, then you know exactly where the keys are, and you know that they never leave the secure chip. So you are really the true owner of your private keys.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about the EAL6 Plus secure chip. Is it 100% open source? Can you see what it does? Or is it the only part of the entire device that you must trust?
Well, Satochip use a secure element, which is the secure chip of the smart card. And there's no 100% open source secure element. So any hardware wallet that use secure element cannot be fully open source because the design of the secure element itself is not open source. There is a project by Trezor, which is called Tropic Square, and I know you know it quite well. That aims at releasing an open source secure element, but it's an ongoing effort, and it will probably take several years to really have a fully working solution. So the difference between smart cards secure element and others is that they are standard. That there is a standard called Java card, which allows interoperability between smart cards vendors. So you don't have a fully open source chip, but you can choose your vendor, and the same applet, so the Satochip applet, will work on different smart cards from different vendor. And the firmware of Satochip itself is open source. So it's really the hardware chip and the low level OS running on that chip that is not open source. It's quite technical, so I don't know if it's very clear, but that's the current situation. Yes.
It's somewhat similar to what Ledger does, but would you say that Satochip is more open source than Ledger, or similar?
I would say it's more open source because first, you can anybody can very easily, let's say easily, build his own Satochip hardware wallet. So you can download the firmware from our GitHub repo, compile it, and load it on a chip card that you will buy from different vendor, and you have a choice. So you are not, let's say, you don't have to buy a specific card from a specific vendor. There is NXP, there is Gemalto, there is Infineon, there is Feitian, and probably others that all supports Java card. And we use off-the-shelf the off-the-shelf OS from each of these vendor for low-level execution of the firmware of Satochip. If you use a Ledger, they have their own custom OS that's called Bolos, and this OS is not open source. So you have only a very partial view of only some part of their code that is open, and you cannot build your own ledger. So you have to trust them. For example, we saw that with the recovery saga. Ledger say that it was not possible to export the private keys from Ledger, and then they implemented this very functionality, and they pushed it through an update without warning the users before. So it was really not a transparent way of doing things, and this is not possible with Satochip.
Yeah, there's also something to be said about the fact that you can't do any updates to the smart card, right? You just buy it and you use it as it is. The purpose of that secure element is to secure that secret to make it actually a secret. But afterwards, there is no piece of software that can modify what's happening inside, right?
Yes. So currently, we don't provide updates, and it's technically not possible for a user to update his Satochip if he bought it from us. But for people, for example, that build their own Satochip wallet, so they buy their own smart cards and they compile the code and they load it on the card themselves, they can actually update the code because they have full control of on the smart card and on what they load on the card. So they and only they can update their hardware wallet. So, for example, we have a design and architecture of Satochip that's also specificities of Satochip is that we have a very simple firmware. So we don't need a lot of updates because actually what the Satochip firmware does is simply importing seeds, deriving private keys, storing them, and signing Bitcoin transaction. So this part does not evolve a lot. But for example, if you want to support the latest Taproot release, so the latest Satochip firmware that supports Taproot Schnorr signatures, then you have to update the firmware. It's not possible if you bought it from us. You have to buy a new Satochip. But if you build the card yourself, your own Satochip hardware wallet, then you can actually update the firmware. But it will erase the seed and the private key, so you will have to import a new seed on the hardware wallet.
Satochip provides open source solutions based on smart card to assist you in your crypto journey. The hardware wallet lets you safely store your private keys within the tamper-proof chip memory, while Satodime allows you to create a barrier cold storage in 2 clicks thanks to its mobile app. And Seedkeeper is the ultimate hardware device to store and manage your seed phrases. Become self-custody with Satochip. Your keys, your coins.
I'm super happy that I was able to make use of your knowledge, Baudoin, because you're the quiet one for
You're welcome. Yes.
most of the interview. But I have to go back to Bastien and ask him about the elevator pitch for Satochip. How would you explain it to someone who is in the same elevator with you and might be a no-coiner?
Well, it's a bit complex to explain what is a hardware wallet to a no-coiner. If I was speaking to my mom, maybe I would say that Bitcoin is a digital currency created by a bunch of software and some magic cryptographic tools. You can own a Bitcoin by owning the corresponding private key, and the private key is like the golden key you can use to open your bank vault. So you have to carefully take care of this golden key. So either you can just use a USB flash stick to store your private key, your digital private key, or you can use a hardware wallet which is designed to hold such keys. So a bit like your bank vault is designed to store your gold, your hardware wallet is designed to store your Bitcoin, by extrapolation, your Bitcoin private key. But usually the elevator pitch for Satochip is more clear. It's Satochip is a company that provide hardware and open source software solution to allows you to store, manage, and exchange your Bitcoin safely and easily. That's it.
Yeah, and also something that I want to remark right now is that when a no-coiner looks at this, they're like, oh, this is a card for Bitcoin, right? So you should probably be able to swipe it or tap it, and you're gonna spend Bitcoin out of it. But that's not really how it works, because it requires two-factor authentication.
Exactly. A lot of people think that because it's a cheap card, not a cheap card, because it's a cheap card, it can be used on a POS terminal at the grocery store to buy food. But it's not. You cannot use it to pay using your Bitcoin, but you can use the product to safely store your Bitcoin. Maybe you can exchange a Satodime, a preloaded Satodime card, the bearer crypto card that is loaded with some sats, and exchange it physically for a car, a Supra, for example. It can be done like that, but you cannot pay using a terminal.
I mean, I do have a Satodime here, and you told me that only 200 of these were made, and
Yep.
it has this Pepe. It will probably be worth a Supra in a few years.
I'm pretty sure it will. I'm pretty sure. Oh, and I just want to make a short note regarding what Baudoin said about Taproot. So currently, the hardware wallet sold by Satochip does not support Taproot because Taproot is our latest firmware, but it's only in beta version. But for the people who are compiling the code by themselves or creating their own hardware wallet using a blank Java card, they can download the latest beta firmware that support Taproot. Just to be clear.
And it's supported with Sparrow.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, I was gonna joke and say that sometimes I'm so slow that by the time I publish the episode, you will have Taproot support.
Who knows? We want to perform some code review, more review before we really release it officially. Yes.
So Vlad, if you want to test Taproot, I can send you a blank Java card. You can load the firmware by yourself. It's just two command line. No, just one command line at the end. And you can create your own hardware wallet that can support Taproot.
Oh, nice. I can get Bitcoin wizards now. No, that's not the point of Taproot. You're supposed to create these complex conditional spends, right?
Indeed.
That was the point of it, or multi-sigs that are more private. But I do remember when Taproot was getting activated that people were like, oh, we won. Bitcoin now has smart contracts. Anyway, I was going to ask you about the third-party wallets with which you can use Satochip or Satodime. You presented Sparrow. You mentioned that there's also Electrum. What else have you got?
So as previously said, Satochip is natively supported by Sparrow Wallet. We are currently working with the Electrum team because we have pushed a pull request to be integrated, but people can already use our own fork of Electrum. This is for Bitcoin. We also support Uniblow wallet, which is a multi-blockchain wallet that support a lot of altcoin, including Ethereum, Tezos, and other layer 2. Dogecoin. If you want to
what
use...
about Tether on Tron?
Tether on Tron. I think
possibly.
Yes. You can use it because it's supported by Uniblow.
I was in Argentina last year and everyone was sending Tether on Tron. They had competitions at every booth where you could win 100 USDT and it was on Tron. And I was like, is this even a Bitcoin conference anymore? Or is this a Tether promotional event?
So yes, you can manage your Tether on Tron using a Satochip through Uniblow. We are also supporting Bitcoin Cash through Electrum Cash, which is also a fork of Electrum. And you can use Electrum for Litecoin if you want to store your Litecoin. So basically, we do support a major wallet for Bitcoin and other chain. Yes, and we hope we can have some talk with mobile wallet, maybe also an integration with Nunchuk, which is already used by, if I'm not wrong, TapSigner through the NFC. So that mobile wallet can be also a good choice for Satochip and maybe for Satodime.
Yeah, you mentioned something interesting because sometimes when I talk about Satochip or Satodime on Twitter, they're like, oh, I took a look at the website and these guys are shitcoiners. They support shitcoins. And what they don't really understand is that this support is completely optional on the user side. So there's no difference in security. You're not getting a much worse security out of the device because it can do that. It's just a card. It can do whatever you want it to do.
Indeed. Yes. So if you look at the code, you see that it's mostly practically blockchain agnostic because we are a hardware wallet, or maybe it's more a key manager. So we manage the keys that are stored inside of the chip card. And then the software wallet will send transaction for signing. And if you want more control, then you have to enable the 2FA application on a mobile to review the transaction on the screen of the mobile. Otherwise, the chip card will just sign the transaction, be it Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever. So there's no Bitcoin only edition or whatever.
Let me ask you a harder question. You have 3 products right now. You have the Satochip, you have the Satodime, which I have right here, and you also have the Seedkeeper. What happens if someone loses their card in all situations?
So for the Satochip, there's no, it's the same as other hardware wallet or even software wallet. As long as you have a backup of your seed, you can recover your wallet by just resetting the Satochip. Well, if you lose it or you buy a new hardware wallet or even a software wallet and you import the seed, it's BIP39 compliant, so it's compatible with other wallets. Seedkeeper is the backup solution, so it's recommended to make a backup of your Satochip seed on one or multiple Seedkeeper. So you should have a backup of Seedkeeper with another Seedkeeper, for example. And there's an option in the Seedkeeper tool to really make a clone of a Seedkeeper from copy the content of a Seedkeeper into another one in a secure way, so end-to-end encrypted. And for the Satodime, that's very specific. Satodime is a bit like it's a bearer crypto card, so it's really like a banknote. If you lose a banknote, you lose it, and maybe somebody else will find it and will take the money, so it's not lost for everyone. But there's no backup for the Satodime because it's the purpose to be able to give it physically to someone, to gift it. And of course, if you can make a backup of the Satodime, then you cannot securely gift it. With a Satodime, when you give it to someone, the person that received the Satodime is sure that you cannot take it back. Once it's given, it's given. So there's no backup.
So you don't want to lose the Satodime. That's what you're saying.
Yes, exactly.
Well, if you lose it, maybe someone else will be richer, you know? That's the goal. That's the beauty of the product. Just like a $20 bill. maybe you lose it on street, but someone else will be happy. And yeah, the goal of Satodime is not to hold one entire Bitcoin unless you want to buy a car. The goal is more to onboard people using Bitcoin, gift them Bitcoin. For example, you can use a Satodime as a piggy bank for your children. You gift a card for your children's birthday, and then you can create a Bitcoin vault, copy the deposit address, and from time to time you tip the piggy bank with more sats, and your child is able to check the balance by itself using its mobile phone. So it's quite interesting, and yeah, there is no backup for Satodime.
I do recall there was a project called BitPiggies, and it was just one guy. His name is Fartface2000. He was on the show in season 2, and he was the first person to receive the torch from Hodlonaut during the days of the lightning torch. Mm-hmm. Anyway, he bought a bunch of open dimes and put them on a bunch of plastic piggies, and he was selling the BitPiggy, and he was making a profit off of that. It was a pretty profitable business for a while until he ran out of people to buy them, because what we tend to forget sometimes is that this is still a very small community.
Yeah. OpenDime is a great tool. Satodime took a lot from OpenDime, but
are you blocked by NBK because of that?
I'm not yet. But I really like OpenDime. I have some OpenDime here. But what I don't like with OpenDime is that you need a computer to check if the balance is still there, and when you want to retrieve the private key, you have to break the device. So it's cool because it's geeky, but you cannot reuse it. With Satodime, if you import the private key, if you unseal the key slot and import the private key, you can reset your vault and reuse it again. So you can even exchange card with friends. And then, I will say to you, empty the vault, reset the card, and then give it the card back to me, and I can reuse it again and again. So it's more interesting to have something that you can use and reuse again compared to OpenDime.
Yeah, and I was just thinking that this can be a pretty cool scaling layer for Bitcoin, you know? Mm-hmm. You don't make on-chain transactions anymore. On a local level, you can exchange some of these Satodime cards for bread or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. It's like an offline transaction.
It's just that it requires verification to make sure that you're not being scammed by receiving a Satodime that has been unsealed.
Yes, but with the mobile application, it's very simple. So you just scan the card on the back of your mobile, and it will show you the status of the card. So the content, the balance, and if the card has been unsealed or not. So it's very straightforward.
Yeah, you guys build some very cool products, and I'm going to ask you about some creative use cases that maybe we haven't mentioned.
Yes, but for the product, there are a lot of cool use cases. For example, with a Satochip, you can buy a SIM card, which is a Java card also, and put it in a USB stick, so you can have the smallest hardware wallet in the world. That's one of the use cases. If you want to hide it, you can hide it easily because it looks like a phone SIM card. So it's quite interesting. Also, Satochip can be used with custom design for plausible deniability. It's really interesting. You can use, for example, fake member card or library card design printed on the Satochip, which is also great. You don't have to have the Bitcoin logo on the card. Seedkeeper can be used in conjunction with Seed Signer. Recently, Crypto Guide made a great tutorial on YouTube using Seed Signer with Seedkeeper. It's another great example that can be achieved thanks to open source. With Satodime, so the bearer card, you can trade NFT on counterparty and make collectibles. We could easily imagine Pokemon cards with NFT on counterparty, and you print the NFT onto the card. You load the NFT a bit like the Bitcoin heads, and you can exchange it and make it collectibles. So you bring the digital world into the physical world. You bring them tangible. Things are tangible. We talk about the piggy bank for your child. You can also create a tip jar. We could easily imagine someone working in a restaurant, just putting a QR code as a tip jar. You scan the QR code and deposit some Bitcoin. In fact, the Satodime card is inside the waitress pocket, and they have Bitcoin in hand, which is great. In hand and self-custodian, which is really important.
Random question, but when you use the card, does it generate a different address every time? Or receiving tips, for example?
No, it won't. You will have one receiving address. And if you want a new address, you will have to create a new vault. Because when you seal a Bitcoin vault, it will create one pair of key, one public key and one private key associate, and it will seal the private key inside the secure element. So yes, you will have to create a new vault if you want another address.
You did mention the Bitcoin heads, and you gave me a board which has the first 8 or 10 of them, if I'm not mistaken. And for a while, you had them on sale on your website. I see that they're gone right now. What happened to them? Are you still going to sell them, or are you going to wait for 10 years and then
No.
get them to some auction?
We plan to sell them again. We recently moved from an old website to a new one. We have a new branding, and we decided to focus on the 3 products we have, so Satochip, Seedkeeper, and Satodime, and don't expand the product catalog with too many design, because it might be confusing, especially because Bitcoin heads is a niche. I mean, it's NFT on counterparty loaded on a Satodime card, so it targets OGs only. But yeah, we plan to put them on the website anytime soon. We have some Bitcoin heads for sales. Yes.
One of the most common criticisms against, you can call them NFTs, you can call them tokens, you can call them alternative assets, but something that exists on the Bitcoin network is that, I've heard this from Peter Willey, who said that this was his initial skepticism in regards to counterparty, that if you have this rare Pepe that's going to get transacted into a block, you add an extra incentive for the miner to double spend the transaction or launch a reorg attack if there's enough money. So basically, if these assets become more valuable than the block reward, you're perverting the incentives for the miners. But if you put the assets on these cards and they get traded in auctions or in special events, they can be worth millions of dollars and they can change hands without a single on-chain transaction. And this way you also dodge this whole slippery slope where you can make the miners dishonest because they see you're transacting this asset. So I think I just figured out another use case.
That's great, yes. So it will also maybe reconciliate a bit skeptics with NFTs on counterparty and Bitcoin.
And better put those NFT right now, because they are not worth a lot of money, onto Satodime. So you make just one on-chain transaction, and then they are off-chain
For the rest of
for the rest of their life, and can be truly collectibles. We can grade the card, put them on the acrylic sleeves, and have beautiful collectible stuff. Exactly.
Oh, it's one on-chain transaction for each card.
For each card, yes.
I guess you can batch it, and you can
yeah,
send,
yes, you
let's
can
say,
batch. Yes,
200
you
of them in one transaction, but still, you're gonna pay a huge fee.
can. Indeed. But only once, and then
They are immortalized for the rest of their life, which is great. A bit like Bitcoin head.
Yeah, that's far ahead of its time, I think.
Maybe
The
too
heads are
early.
ahead.
Maybe too early, yes.
It's definitely too early because most people, I don't know for what reason, counterparty keeps on coming back and then fading into obscurity for a few years. And at one point, people are gonna start searching, and it's gonna be a race to the bottom to search for something what they call historic, something that's older, something that signifies a little bit more. And I think in 2021 it was super crazy. People were even rejuvenating some dead blockchains like Namecoin because they were searching for assets that might still exist there. Crazy, but
And you know what, Vlad? If I'm not wrong, your latest Bitcoin heads were featuring so-called villain, like the guy from FTX
and from Celsius, I think,
and from Celsius also. So maybe when we will put them again on the web shop, we might create a new category for all these bad boy in the crypto ecosystem.
yeah, I didn't think about it in these terms, but it's gonna be a funny joke, I guess. In 5 years, people are gonna buy them and say, "Oh, they're not gonna say scammed. They're gonna say I got rogged by Mashinsky. I have a card."
Exactly. If you got rugged by one of those guys, you can have a free card.
Yeah. It's a nice gift. If you know someone that has been rugged by him, you can offer him.
But there's also the Carpelle's head for the OGs.
Yeah.
If they still have funds locked in Mount Gox, they can get that one. Comes with a Frappuccino. Not sure who's gonna get that joke, but so how can people purchase your devices? We have been talking about Bitcoin heads and stuff, but where do they have to go to actually buy a Satochip, Satodime, or I always forget the third one. It's Seedkeeper.
Seedkeeper, yes. Exactly, yes. So we are currently selling the product through our web shop. It's Satodime.io, Satochip.io, sorry. And we also have some reseller based in Malaysia, Australia, and the United States. But yes, the best option is to go to Satochip.io. Shipping is free for most of the countries, so the price is affordable. And if you want, you can opt for paid tracking shipping if needed. And of course, Satochip is looking for reseller around the world. So if you are listening to this podcast and are interested by the product, you can go on the reseller page of our website and register yourself to be a Satochip reseller.
And as I said, the user also have the possibility to build their own hardware wallet or their own Satodime or Seedkeeper. We also sell blank card. on our web shop, but otherwise they can also find smart cards on different vendors, and they can buy from other, so they don't even have to trust us if they prefer.
What are the current prices for these cards?
It's €25, so it's quite affordable comparing to other hardware wallet. And yes,
you may need to buy a chip card reader if you don't have one, and if you want to use it on your computer. It's a standard chip card reader, so we sell them, or you can buy them on Amazon or whatever.
I just ran the conversion. That's $27, which is about half the price of any hardware wallet that has electronic parts.
But we don't have a screen.
I've heard that before so many times. They say if it doesn't have a screen, it's not a hardware wallet. I understand the importance of the screen, but you're doing something else.
Yes, the goal is to push the price down, to give the ability to the customers to be self-custodian and to have a hardware wallet. Okay, if you have just a few sats worth €100, there is no point for you to buy a hardware wallet that costs what you want to protect. Okay, so with Satochip, we try to achieve a very good security at a very good price. And as said, if you want an extra layer of security, for example, the screen, you can just download the 2FA mobile application and you have a detached screen. So, but yes, I can agree with people that said screen is important to avoid blind signature. Exactly.
Yeah, and we talked about where they can buy the device, how much it costs, but also where can they follow the project to see the latest updates and to see when Taproot becomes available and other stuff.
Yes, so we are active on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn,
Telegram.
And Telegram. So just follow at Satochip and you will find us. And on Telegram and Bitcoin Talk, we are more active if you want to have a chat regarding the product, the technology, how to build stuff on top of Satochip and our solution. So you can come by. And for the people who want to help us on the project, on the open source part, they can check Toporin GitHub repository. We'll provide all the links in the description.
And the links are also on the website.
Yep, exactly.
Satochip.io.
Baudoin and Bastien, I feel like I've learned a lot in the last 90 minutes. I understand your product so much better. I hope that everyone listening has learned something new today. And I wish you best of luck. If you're listening to this and you made it this far into the episode, just buy a Satochip and give it a try. It's a pretty interesting device. If you want to give some family members some Bitcoin, you can try the Satodime and see how it's different from whatever you tried before. It's definitely better than handing some, I guess, words on a piece of paper. Yeah, they're gonna lose that. Or to try to buy them a hardware wallet, it's likely that they will not want to use that. They will never try it. So always keep a backup when you're gifting Bitcoin to someone else, because maybe they're gonna lose it, maybe they will not want it anymore in the future. Never know. But Satodime is a pretty good way. And you can also use one of their devices for saving your secrets, your private keys, your everything that you want to keep in one place in an encrypted state. So that's pretty cool. It's commodified in a sense, because back in the early days, people were encrypting by themselves and they were using all of these sophisticated schemes. And sometimes they would even forget what they used, and that's the most
That's
tragic
the
situation.
risk.
When you kill yourself with complexity.
It happens more often than we think. A lot of Bitcoin were lost, were hacked, but a lot of Bitcoin were also simply lost or irrecoverable. Just for to add that the Seedkeeper, there is also an interesting use case with Seedkeeper. So it's the backup solution for your seed. It's also it can also be a great way to ensure transmission of your Bitcoin if something happens to you. So a lot of people are wondering, what if I die, actually? How can I transmit my Bitcoin to my loved ones if something happens to me? And maybe one of the best, simplest, and most secure way to do it is using simply a Seedkeeper. You store your seed with your Bitcoin on a Seedkeeper, and you give it to your loved one, and you keep the PIN code for yourself, so they cannot do anything with it, and you write the PIN code on your will. So if something happens to you, they have the Seedkeeper, they already have it, and they recover the PIN code after you die. So you can easily transmit that.
And this is a pretty grim way to end the interview.
And
If you die,
so this is the end.
if you die, you're gonna be able to use the Seedkeeper, or whoever inherits the Seedkeeper is gonna be able to get
Yes.
access. So yeah, inheritance, that's another use case, which
Don't
is
lose
underrated.
your Bitcoin.
So
Yeah.
thank you guys.
Thank you, Vlad. Thank you for hosting the podcast. It was a really interesting talk with you, and I'm happy if people listen to the podcast and know more about Satochip and our products. So thank you.